Welcome to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling 101. And before we are joined by Hardcore Christopher, I just wanted to take this moment to say thank you to all those that watched my Ric Flair promo video and all the new subscribers that I have received. I appreciate it very much. And now we are joined by Hardcore Christopher.
Hi, guys.
So I know we did this about a couple weeks ago. It might have been last week for all I remember.
No, it was roughly 2 weeks ago.
And we just touched on a lot of subjects, but a lot has happened since then, so I decided I thought it might be wise to get back together,
Okay.
so to speak.
Let's first get this out of the way. This Yahoo right here
Yeah.
had me do a video.
I watched that video.
I know you did. And I'm surprised you watched all of it.
I did.
But if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, he gave me homework, and everyone knows that I hate homework.
I do it at least once a month.
Maybe twice.
I might have to start doing it once a week just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, but he had me do 5 things good, well, what I thought was good, and 5 things what I thought was bad about WWE and AEW. Now, I'm going to say this. If any of you watch that video and get mad at me for anything I say about AEW, I want to be perfectly clear on something. I couldn't find anything wrong with AEW.
So you were just nitpicking.
I was nitpicking.
I will agree, I don't like Alex on the comment, on the mic. The interview guy. He just seems, I don't know.
But what'd you think of my WWE side of things?
I didn't think we had 5 good things until I got listening. I was like, I guess I could see that. Bobby Lashley was a good champion. I'm very interested to see what he does for that there. But did we make history when Bobby won that belt? Not Bobby, but when E won that belt. And is this the first time 2 champions back-to-back have been African?
I think so.
I think so. And if that's the case, that's good, because I remember a time where they never got a world title.
The only African American champion I can remember is Ahmed Johnson when he won the Intercontinental strap.
I'm talking about the world title.
Oh, the world title?
The Rock.
The Rock's only half.
But he is still... He could probably be classified as...
There's Kofi. There's E.
I think this is the first back-to-back. Well, let's get off that subject. That could get us all in trouble if we ain't careful. So let's start with All Out.
I heard it was a very, very, very good show.
I expected Daniel. Everyone did. Because his normal debut was supposed to be the next Wednesday night.
I was expecting him in Washington. It would have made a whole lot more sense.
Well, I don't think they got a Washington booked for a while. But
I thought that Dynamite was supposed to be in...
we got Queens, New York is where he was supposed to debut, which is Wednesday. Now, It's just 6 days away. But they wasn't sure if that show was going to even be able to go on as scheduled because of the rise in COVID. And we wish everyone stay healthy. This is not the time to
Not the time to be stupid, because you could die from this.
And I'm just going to say, this is not a time where any of us thought we would be living in. Let's just put it that way. But, it was a good show. I really think top to bottom. So, the buy-in, I don't even remember what matches were what. I would just touch on the important matches, because I honestly forgot. I will have to go back and rewatch. So we had the Casino Women's Battle Royal that
won by Ruby Soho.
Used to be Ruby Riott debuted and won. She gets her match for that title next week.
Mm-hmm.
We've had the world title of Christian Cage, and
No one expected Christian to win that belt.
no one thought he was going to win the first one, but there was no way Omega was going to lose twice in such a short time. Honestly, everyone expected that to be a title versus title match, but that never happened. I think Impact is more comfortable with a former champion of those being champion than they are with a non-Impact guy. ever. I don't think Omega's ever worked for them. He might have did a couple.
He may have done a couple of
matches.
shots in like the early days.
He might have did a couple of dark matches for him, like he did for WWE and stuff. But I don't think he's actually worked. And then we had. Oh, the match of the night had to be that cage match. It's not for the faint of heart by any stretch, but I think it's the greatest cage match in the modern day.
Where has Pac been?
He's back. He just couldn't.
Well, I know he's back, but he's not back with the Lucha Brothers.
He told the Luchas to focus on the tag titles. They are not split up, but they are more.
But Pac hasn't done anything on television ever since he came back.
He had a match against Andrade on Friday, which he lost, which no one expected Andrade to lose his match. Andrade attacked Ciampa after the match, and the explanation, thank you, of that this last night was that he didn't give Ciampa permission to attack. He wanted to win that match on his own, but Ciampa didn't let him.
I can see that being a few.
Yeah, I don't know if Ciampa's quite done. And a lot of people think this is setting up the Ric Flair debut. I don't know how I feel about that just yet. I mean, if they keep him as a manager role only, then I'd be fine with it. But the guy's 70-some years old, he does not need to wrestle.
Well, you said that when Rick got physical at that AAA event that nobody knew he was there. He threw like a chop or a punch and he looked exhausted.
He did. And maybe it was just the way the camera was angled. It is a Mexican cameraman. Maybe it was different. I don't know.
And look, me and him are both in agreement that Ric Flair should just stay home and be happy. And
I'm not going to go that far.
But maybe this is what's keeping him going.
Yeah. I think if they can keep him involved in the business because that's what makes him happy. Just don't put him back in the ring. I don't think that is needed.
We don't need another.
So let's move on from
Hogan
that.
And Flair situation.
We had did we have a TNT title match? Yes. Eddie Kingston. It was a good match. I expected Lana, but she didn't debut. But then, at the end of the night, kind of
sure
explained.
Lana is gonna go with her husband.
Oh, she's going. It's just a matter of when. I think they had so much planned, so many debuts that they spacing it out. What happened?
But they had debut after debut after debut, back to back to back.
And Lana would have got lost in the shuffle. She's not a wrestler.
Well, she is. She's just not a very good wrestler.
Well, I don't think they bring her in as a wrestler. At least not yet. She could be part of Cody's faction to train and eventually make it into wrestling. But as of right now, she's not that good, as we both said. So we had a TNT title match, no title change. We had the woman match, which honestly was good. I didn't expect it to be that good.
What was the woman match?
It was Britt Baker versus the one that's with Best Friends now.
She thinks, Statlander.
Yeah, she thinks she's an alien. And then the world title, but really what made that main event the main event was what happened afterward.
Yeah.
So, the debut of Danielson,
everyone saw that
knew.
coming. Especially when Punk said...
But when the music first hit, the crowd even started going nuts. They started chanting Danielson. And then when it popped up Adam Cole, that crowd went even crazier.
Yeah, we got Adam.
That pop was huge. Not CM Punk level, but it was big. And then when he super kicked... Who was it that he got? Jungle Boy, maybe? I think it was Jungle Boy, but it was it was Jungle Boy. And when he, or was it Cage? It wasn't Lucas.
I think it was Cage.
It wasn't Luchasaurus.
No, it wasn't Cage, because Cage got hit with the BTE, I think.
And he was also getting an attack before the music hit. Was it Christian Cage? No.
I think it was Jack Perry, Jungle Boy.
I'm thinking it was Jungle Boy. I may be wrong on exactly who got hit. And so he comes to the ring, he teases attacking the Elite, and then super kicks So basically, we have the reformation of the Super Elite, which is the Bucks and Adam.
And
I will get back to that.
And I actually had to get in touch with him because I was confused. Now, keep in mind, the only Adam Cole I know is from the WWE system.
Mm-hmm.
So I Marco'd him, and if you don't know what Marco Polo is, you should look it up, and it's a good way to stay in touch.
It's a walkie-talkie video version.
Yes. But I just asked him, I'm a little confused. When was Adam ever part of the Bullet Club or...
Ring of Honor, right before he went to WWE days. And the story was that Omega kicked him out of the group. So I was shocked about that.
But how long do you think Adam is going to stand by and allow Omega to be champion?
I don't think Omega is going to be champion much longer. He's had, as of December, he would be a year champ. I think what is setting up, and I could be wrong, and if I am, it's going to be on camera. I think that Danielson is going to win, and then gets his title shot at the next pay-per-view, and win again. And that would be the beginning.
Have their champion lose 2 matches back to back?
If you drop the title, that won't be that big of a deal.
Well, he still has the AAA title, doesn't he?
Yeah, but the only reason he still has that is that first was Tony Khan requested that he hanged on to it because he didn't want Omega to lose, being that he was going to retain his other one, 2 championships back to back. And then when Tony finally contacted them, he goes, you know what, if you want to do it, do it. He said, I don't care. And then they decided to hold off.
Oh, okay.
So they did have a little bit of debate because Tony has all final call when it comes to his talent.
Tony's also the one doing all the editing for...
And I did find out something that I thought was unique.
What?
The NWA women's show, all women's show.
Uh-huh.
Tony actually paid all his talent to go there.
That never happens in this industry ever.
Now Billy Coleman offered to pay him. He wouldn't have been able to pay him what they were used to, but he offered to pay him. But Tony felt like his talent should be paid what they are normally used to, so he went ahead and covered it for him. Which I thought was very nice. So after the super kick, he grabs the mic and says his story time with Adam Cole, which was one of his go-to phrases. He starts to talk about...
Wait, did he end it with Bebe like he did on Dynamite?
He winds up grabbing the mic. He starts talking how then Omega actually first grabbed the mic. He goes, "Do you think that he wasn't going to join us? This is one of my best friends, man." And then he grabbed the mic, story time, blah blah blah. He starts talking about how the Elite was now fully intact and something, and then the music hit what Danielson is now using, because they wanted his original music, but apparently
does ROH own it or something?
No, but the one that does own that song wanted too much for it.
Oh, like
for copyrights.
Oh. Well, wait a minute. You're telling me that the Khans have all this money and Tony wasn't a...
Well, Tony, like Tony said, he says, I have a lot of money. There was no dealing that. He said, but you got to be smart with your money. He said, even I wouldn't be willing to pay what they wanted. So it sounds like a whole lot of money just for a song. Okay. You got to admit.
Yeah.
And then Danielson picks up Christian Cage, picks up Jungle Boy, and basically we have a brawl for all. And then Chris Zilliam shows up, and that's a good way to end the show.
Yeah.
Now, the actual buy rate numbers has not dropped yet, but according to Tony Khan, they will be breaking company history and a 20-year non-WWE pay-per-view history of over 200,000 buy rates. And WWE hasn't gotten that in a very long time, just so you know.
They haven't gotten that.
And so, yeah, it was an excellent anniversary show for them. Because technically this is a WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's move on to NXT 2.0. What are your thoughts after week 1?
Okay. First off, Rick Steiner's son looks nothing like the dog-faced gremlin.
No, you can see resemblance. He doesn't. He's
Yeah,
not
he's
identical.
jacked.
He's not. So was Rick in the later years. He doesn't. He's not identical to his dad, but you can definitely see the resemblance.
Second, I like the color.
That's basically what the style of you
Uh,
late 80s, early 90s.
I really liked the color of the entire show. Now, for a year or two, NXT was known for being very dark, but this lightened it up.
That's the one thing I think on the show I did not like. I want to watch pro wrestling, not Nickelodeon. That's all I'm saying. Move on.
I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I wish that people would stop giving Vince McMahon such a hard time, because what we found out was Triple H had some sort of cardiac event that led to surgery.
Here's a question about that, though. Is this takeover a temporary thing? And they knew about this, that Triple H was going to have to go in? I know he had some sort of cardiac event. Was this event just a couple weeks ago when he had the surgery? Or was this event a few months ago and he scheduled this surgery? That part hasn't been revealed, and honestly, I don't think it should be. But if this event happened, say, 6 months ago, and Triple H and Vince McMahon and all the people sat down to discuss what the next phase while he gets this surgery and recovers, then no one has any gripe at Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard for taking over NXT.
But now, if this is a permanent
takeover, and Triple H is being shoved to the side, then by all right, we have every right to criticize Mr. McMahon.
Now, I just have one gripe with the show. And that one gripe is they had LA Knight lose twice in one night.
Was he the one pinned, though, for that main event?
No.
Then it doesn't affect.
But, I forgot who the big, giant, tall guy was that replaced Kyle. I thought he looked good.
Yeah, he is a son of a WWE legend, Bloom?
Oh, Matt Bloom?
Yeah.
Tenzai, Albert?
No, not that Bloom.
Oh.
Odell Bloom.
Then what Bloom are you talking about?
Just look him up. Go watch NXT again and look that guy up, and then look up his dad.
I thought the wedding was very, very hilarious.
It was entertaining. I mean, I think that's the first time we actually had a wedding that went through, though. I kept waiting since Vince McMahon was in control, I kept waiting for a disaster to happen. And besides just a little bit of the priest getting taken out, and then Beth had to come saying that she thought something like this might happen, so she went and got her license and blah, blah, blah. Besides that priest getting taken out, the wedding went fine. I mean, it was all funny when everyone was like this, waiting to see if he would say it, because I don't think he's ever talked.
No.
And he goes, and then they kept leaning, do. And you would think that he just said that he was going to give him $1 million.
I like the part where the priest goes, if there is anybody who doesn't think these people should be...
And then he goes... And then they gradually goes... I read that, I was like, surely not. But yeah, because I was not home when it aired live, so I wanted to see how the show progressed without all the YouTube stuff telling me. So I actually looked up the result, and when I heard that he doesn't say nothing, but he just opens up his jacket and there's an axe. I'm like, an axe? Really? And sure enough, in his jacket, it's just like sitting there.
And for those, and let us put this into context. When the priest asked if there was anybody who didn't think they should be married, it's not like one hand went up and then another hand went up. They pretty much went up all simultaneously.
All but Gargano and his group. So I guess they finally came to the terms that she's gonna do this regardless. So let's just be happy for her.
But
Johnny is actually trying to be like the daddy to her because they showed a highlight of, I guess, what happened a few months back when he took her on her first date. You will bring her back by 11 o'clock, you will. Treat her with respect, and you will do nothing.
Sounds like...
And then she starts talking about something, and then...
Oh wait, what was it when Indy was doing her vows and she goes, I'll never forget the night when you snuck in.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. And then he goes, where was it? And she goes, never.
And then the priest goes, Dexter, your vows, and he just goes.
And then that's when he got it, because he goes, this lady just pulled her heart out to you, and you don't have nothing to say. And then he got choked up. And that's when Beth got involved.
I thought it was...
But it really was...
It could have been worse.
Oh, yeah, it could have not happened. That's what usually happens. Usually someone interferes. Kane interferes.
And I think that's the second wedding ever to go off without a hitch.
Well, one was actually a real live wedding, so they wasn't going to interfere with that.
True, but at least they saved the aftermath for the reception.
They saved the storyline for after the...
And glad to see you back, Austin Theory.
Get up, Michael. Your horsefly can stay with you.
I don't like horseflies.
Oh, they ain't mine. So... all in all, it's been a very good week, and I really thought NXT did quite well.
What do you think the rating is going to be?
Oh, for NXT, it's already dropped.
Oh, it has?
770,000. They went from 601.
So
they did gain over 169,000.
Now, the only question is, can they keep...
The problem is, how many of those was just to see what happened? And how many of those...
You don't like the new stage. I
don't like the color. That's the only thing I don't like. I really wish they would have went back to the gold. And what made NXT NXT. I will agree, the last year and a half they have gotten away from basics. What made NXT NXT. They should have went back to basics, and that's what everyone thought was going to happen. And then they dropped this Nickelodeon colors, and I'm not the only one that says that. Just so you know.
No, Jim Cornette has said that as well.
So has JD from New York. Only he.
But do you think 2.0 is a direct jab at Everrise? Who's now 2.0?
I don't know, don't care, but let's move on. That's something you want to talk about.
Actually, for once I do. PW Insider released a list of their top 500 wrestlers. And Omega has gained the number one spot. However, who's better than Roman Reigns? And I don't mean to say that with WWE bias or anything. But
let me tell you why Mr. Roman's not number one. I got one reason.
Okay.
He works for WWE. And no, that's not me being biased, but he works for a company right now that last year was so laid back they didn't care. Their storyline, besides the bloodline, was stupid.
True.
So, when PWI did their 500 list, they took that into account. They go, do we give it to him, who is one of the best? Do we give it to Omega, who right now is as good as he's ever been? who works for a company that actually been given entertaining shows.
But Roman has been doing the best work of his career right now.
So is Omega, really? If you think about it.
He's not. Omega now isn't better than Omega in Japan.
I disagree. They both are good.
And Roman can say something that Omega can't. He's held one title for 1 year, and he's been unstoppable doing it.
Omega's knocking on it.
Okay. Omega lost the Impact Championship.
And Roman has lost a bunch of tag matches in that year.
However,
Omega has lost one match since he's been champion. One. Roman cannot say that.
True, but who do you think is better? Don Callis or Paulie?
Oh, that's a no-bueno. But that ain't what we're talking. We ain't talking about the voices. Don Callis is good, but I think no one's in the league of Paul Heyman.
I will say this. I think that WWE, all those years ago, I did
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get to see one of our debates live as it happened. You just never know when it's going to start popping out.
I did a tirade on Brock Lesnar.
I got onto him.
I think it was like...
And then he did a 45-minute tirade on Vince McMahon that I really laid into him about. Okay, let's go on.
Yes, that's true. I basically said that Vince buries everyone, which is true.
Unless he likes you.
Well, unless your name is Hogan or Cena or...
I don't know if
Taker
and him is even on the same page at the moment. I don't know.
But if they give the title to Brock, I won't be upset.
I don't even know if the match in Saudi is going to be for the title. They haven't really said. But where does Heyman loyalty lies? He still has Brock on speed dial, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And with the ringtone when he called a Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Paul was being interviewed by Sarah Schreiber or whatever the interview
and
was.
then he goes, yes.
And then
you hear something, and then he goes, Brock, I'm kind of in the middle of something.
and then all you hear is Brock Lesnar's music on... Well, Brock Lesnar's ring... Paul's phone goes off and it's Brock Lesnar's music, and then Brock... And then the storyline they're going with is Brock called Heyman, told Heyman that he was going to be at SummerSlam.
And Heyman didn't tell.
And then, I believe it was the next week, Heyman goes, my tribal chief, we have a problem with Brock Lesnar. And Roman just goes, you have a problem with Brock Lesnar.
He goes, no. He's going to be here next week.
How do we not know he's here right now?
The issue is this.
But it's not going to...
If Saudi is a title match, Brock wins it. For sure.
Unless they want to stretch this out for Mania.
They're going to have a rematch at Mania. That's where I'm going with this. Brock is actually in one of his busiest contracts he has signed in a long time.
Busier than his 2000...
He has roughly 12 matches in 18 months.
Good Lord, Vince McMahon must have shelled out a lot of money.
That's from what I understand. So 12 matches is about a match every 2 months.
And he's only willing to give Bill 2 or 3?
Well, Bill is actually booked, supposed to be, anyways. At least that was the storyline. I don't know. Well, now it kind of makes sense, though. Because now they can let Bill win. For those of you who may not been, well, none of you could see that, I had a cat get on my car, so I just gave her a bath. And that poor thing ran like it got shot.
But
I think your cat's hungry, by
yeah,
the way.
but congratulations to.
Well, let's touch on the Bills thing first. So, going in, when he was talking about how he was coming back for Bobby's soul, and at this point, it's not even for the title. We know that if that match happened on Saudi, they was not going to have a non-title match. So, we knew the outcome.
Mhm.
They have made that now where you don't know the outcome. I think Bill gets his win back. And not only that, this could be an angle where they take out Bobby for a couple months
I think
to come back stronger than ever. Maybe even keep him out till Rumble and have him win the Rumble.
I honestly think that Bill beats the bejeebus out of Lashley for putting his son in the Hurt Lock.
And that's why I think they could do an injury angle with Bobby. Keep him off TV till the Royal Rumble. Have him come back, win the Royal Rumble. And if not Brock. Well, yeah, that does make sense. If Brock is champion at that point, we can finally get a Brock versus Bobby match.
Title for title or just.
No. Bobby ain't champion.
Oh, yeah.
We can finally get a title match between them two. MVP managing one, Paul Heyman managing the other. I would like to see that feud because both men can talk on that mic.
Well, why don't. I know how weird this is going to sound, but if Paul turns on Roman, that would make Roman go back to being a baby face.
No. Brock is a good guy in this.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily. There was also talk of Jimmy's wife, or Jay's wife, joining the bloodline. They've also just hired...
They hired...
Was it the Usos brother?
Rikishi's youngest, I think.
I think it's the Usos brother. Yes.
Yeah.
So they can add him as soon as he's ready for the call-up. He could be added to the bloodline. Just because Paul's no longer the voice, they could get another voice if they don't think Roman should talk.
I personally like what Roman's doing now.
I do too. I just don't know where Paul Heyman's loyalty lies.
You know, this is what I would do.
And that's keeping us on our edge with this storyline. It's the only thing WWE got going for them right now.
Well, because last week, I think it was last week on SmackDown, I didn't watch, but Brock came out and I think the horseflies are trying to get into your car. But Brock came out, confronted Roman and the Usos. Usos got in front of Roman, and Brock beat the bejeebus out of them.
That was last week from what I understand.
And then for Brock, who shouldn't talk, they got exactly the right amount of time for Brock on the mic.
I also heard rumors that they may be trying to pair Brock with Selena. Which she can talk. She's a proven manager.
Mm-hmm.
So that would kind of make sense.
But Brock just says,